Hello my loves and welcome back to my channel. Today's video, I'm so beyond excited to share it with you. We're going to be talking about the one concept that you can apply to your life to quantum leap to your highest timeline. This is a concept that when I learned it many years ago, I quantum leaped so drastically where now I have my dream career, I have my dream lifestyle, and everything that I desire to manifest actually comes really quickly because of applying this concept. So when you apply it to your life, it'll help you manifest faster. It'll help you quantum leap to your highest timeline where life just feels so good, so energizing, so full of love, so full of passion, so full of like deep fulfillment. And this concept is so simple that when you first hear it, you might be like, wait, what? But bear with me to just hear me out on this entire concept, because when you apply it to your life, you're going to see how drastically it shifts you and how deeply it works. So this concept is living your life by following your passions and following your most passionate guidance and instincts, which we're going to talk about more about what that actually is. And then 2 is also choosing to live each moment of your day, each segment of your day, slightly more passionately in any way that you can to make it slightly more passionate. So what does that actually look like? That means when you wake up in the morning, we all have these different segments of our day, right? We have like waking up, maybe brushing our teeth, showering, getting ready, driving to work, coming home, getting groceries, cooking our food, doing all these things. You can actually compartmentalize and segment your day to different segments. And when you can look at each of those segments and ask yourself, how can I live each of these segments more passionately or as my most inspiring self? How would my most inspiring self live each of these segments? So rather than waking up to your same alarm clock, which is just like beep, 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 and you're like, and then you start thinking about all of your thoughts of your day, you start, having anxiety and stress about like, I need to remember this, I need to do this today, I need to do that. We can have all these racing thoughts, but instead when we can be really mindful and live in our present moment and say, okay, how do I actually want to wake up in the morning? What's the most inspiring way for me to wake up? What's the most passionate way for me to wake up? And instead you're like, you know what? I'm going to put on my favorite affirmations as my alarm clock. So I wake up to my favorite affirmations. I say them with passion, and I say them with my full energy and my full heart. And then maybe I go brew my absolute favorite cup of tea while listening to the most beautiful Zen handpan music, feeling so present and high vibe. And then I put on my favorite outfit. I actually get ready with intention, and I have a list of maybe all the things that I need to do, but it's on a list so I know I don't need to think about it in my brain while I'm getting ready. It's just there for me when I know that I need it. And then maybe on your drive to work, you listen to a really empowering, inspiring podcast while also drinking maybe your favorite latte or something like this, and maybe imagining and visualizing yourself in your future, whatever it is that feels the most high vibe to you, right? Whatever meals that feel the most high vibe to you, whatever actions feel the most high vibe to you, whenever you can live your day and add even just a little bit more passion to each segment of your day, it's going to uplift your energy. And another thing it's going to do is it's going to make you more creative in general. And people are going to look at you being like, how are you so high vibe all the time? How are you always in this feel good energy? You become magnetic when you're in this energy. When you're living each segment of your day as your highest self and you're doing it with more passion, that is palpable. It's an energy that other people feel. They're going to get inspired by you and be like, why are you always, this really like bubbly, high vibe, high energy person? You're going to become the most inspiring version of you, right? And all of us can make each of our days slightly more passionate. And we can look at each segment of our day and make it slightly more passionate. And when you can do this over the course of the next few weeks or even the next few months or even the next year, and you can look at your segments of your day and add on the passion a little bit more each week and say, okay, how can I make this even now slightly more passionate, slightly more good? You're going to all of a sudden unlock new creative faculties in your brain. You're going to unlock new creative faculties in your being. And all of a sudden, you're going to notice that you are living a life that you actually feel really passionate about, that you feel really high vibe and excited about, because you're living as the highest version of you. But then also, let's say that you have free time in your day and you're like, what do I do in this moment? When you can follow your inner guidance, your inner passions, this is going to lead you to your most highest timeline. Or even if, let's say, that you're like, maybe I really feel inspired to cancel this certain plan that I have, and I really feel inspired to do this instead, and you have this inner knowing, this inner calling. If you listen to those inner callings, and you always listen to your most passionate thoughts, your most passionate ideas, the ones that feel so inspiring to you, you'll actually notice that those are the things that lead you to the most synchronistic moments in life, where all of a sudden you're going to be at the right place at the right time, you're going to have the right conversations, you're going to meet the right people, you're going to find all the right opportunities, because all the right opportunities and all the right people and all of those synchronicities exist on the timeline where you are always taking action from your highest passions. And whenever you feel a strong highest passion that says, oh my gosh, it would feel so inspiring to do that right now, it feels so good to do that right now, if you listen to that and act from those thoughts and those actions, those are always the most inspiring, because it's something within your soul that's telling you, in me taking that action, that's in the right place at the right time right now. There's something waiting for me on the other side there, and that's in alignment with what I'm trying to manifest. Anytime that you act from that place, you're in alignment with what you're trying to manifest. And for me, when I was beginning my YouTube channel, actually, I noticed that there was a lot of resistance whenever I would tell myself, okay, today I'm going to sit down and film a video. I'm going to actually film a video and get it done. I would notice a lot of anxiety and stress around that, because there was a lot of pressure around that. It's like, oh no, I have to film a first video, and I would get nervous. I'd feel like it was difficult to talk on camera. It was really difficult for me to do those things. But instead, when I was like, okay, what would my highest self do? What would be the most passionate way for me to go about filming my first YouTube video? And I thought, you know what? Let me put no pressure on myself, and let me just do it for funsies. And I don't even have to post it anywhere. It doesn't even need to be official, but let me just pretend. Let me pretend that I am a YouTuber already. Let me just pretend that. And let me film a video from that pretending and that space. All of a sudden that felt really passionate and exciting for me. And I was like really excited to take out my camera and sit down and actually film a video, because I was doing it from the energy of pretending that I already was a YouTuber and there was no pressure on it. And all of a sudden it felt really inspiring. And I followed that. And what's interesting is all of a sudden filming a YouTube video, there was no more resistance around it. It didn't feel stressful anymore. It actually felt really exciting. And what I noticed is that in that moment, I was actually able to learn the skills of talking on camera, because through that place of pretending with no pressure about posting it, no pressure about actually doing it perfectly, from that space, I was actually able to talk on camera a lot better, because there wasn't that stress, there wasn't that anxiety. And what I noticed is that actually helped me build the neural pathways of being able to talk on camera, of being able to build the neural network of, oh, I am a YouTuber, this is natural for me to do, this is who I am, right? It's like I was coding in, programming in that new identity into that present moment and into who I am. And that, of course, builds actual neurological networks in your brain that help you with build that skill and actually be able to do that. What I noticed is that filming YouTube videos became so less resistant. And then when I actually started filming official YouTube videos where I'd actually upload them, I was light years ahead of where I would have been if I was just, forcing myself through that process. Instead, when I acted from my highest passions, and I was like, you know what, my highest passion would be just pretending and just doing it for funsies and no pressure. And that just felt so exciting. And again, when I did it that way, I no longer was sitting down filming, overthinking and doing all these things and building the wrong neural networks. Because if we're, sitting down filming a video and trying to do a project and we're thinking like, oh, is there so much tension in this? We're actually building neurological associations that are kind of negative in that moment. But instead, when we act from our highest passions, we do the things that we do from our highest passions in whatever way that feels the most inspiring, in whatever way feels the most passionate. That's where you're going to access your highest timeline. And perhaps maybe you're wondering, okay, well, how do I know what feels the best? How do I find what feels the best? And sometimes the answer doesn't come right away. But if we can just ask ourselves what feels the best in the present moment, and maybe what feels the best is chilling out and watching your favorite YouTube videos. Maybe that feels great. And perhaps when you do that, all of a sudden you're going to come across something that feels really inspiring. Then you're going to all of a sudden feel really inspired to like, you know what? Let me pretend that I am my favorite YouTuber and let me just, film a video in that way. Or perhaps we're going to watch YouTube and then we're seeing our favorite YouTuber talk about their journey about starting that, or whatever the case may be. So whatever your highest passions is, always follow them, because whenever you're following your highest passion, that is what leads you to, again, all those synchronistic events. However, sometimes along this, because I've been doing this now for many, many years, and I know that sometimes along this journey, you may sometimes run into situations where all of a sudden something manifests that's uncomfortable, something manifests that feels negative even. And when these things happen, Even when you're acting from your highest timeline, you're like, wait a second, why is this happening? Is it the universe that's against me? Is it the universe saying that I'm doing something wrong? You know, we can come up with all these thoughts in our head about why something negative is perhaps manifesting. And what I've noticed in my life is that the reason why negative things happen is actually because they are part of your highest timeline of getting you where you desire to go. And the best way that I can explain this, especially now being a mom, is, you know, when I'm getting my daughter ready for bed, sometimes she's really, really tired and she just wants to go to bed, but I'll need to change her outfit because she'll be in an outfit where it's like, oh, you're going to be uncomfortable sleeping in that. We're going to definitely need to change you first. And also we're going to change her diaper because maybe she pooped, maybe she peed. And obviously nobody wants to sleep and poop. Nobody wants to sleep and pee, but she's too young to really understand those concepts. So sometimes when I'm changing her outfit, changing her diaper, getting her ready for bed, she's really whining and complaining and, you know, really expressing her dislike. She's like, no, take me to bed. I want to go to bed. And I'm like, trust me, I'm taking you to bed, but you're going to be very thankful that I am changing your outfit. You're going to be very, very thankful that I'm changing your diaper. But of course she can't understand that yet. She doesn't really have the faculties of understanding the bigger picture reason of why she's not in bed yet and why she's maybe feeling fussy. So similarly, the universe can see the bigger picture in our lives. The universe can see exactly what's going on, and the universe knows what's best for us. And so sometimes we're going to attract a situation that might make us feel uncomfortable, might push us outside of our comfort zone, might even feel negative, or maybe we don't understand why it's happening in the bigger picture. But what I've noticed is anytime that something has come my way that has felt uncomfortable or even felt negative on the surface, always in retrospect, once I am further along in my future, I always look back on those moments and I can finally see, oh, that's why the uncomfort had to happen. That's why this certain situation had to happen this way, because it ended up teaching me something in the bigger picture, or ended up leading me to my highest timeline. But I didn't understand the bigger picture in the meantime. So if there's anything that comes up that is sort of negative or uncomfortable while you're going through the process of following your passions and doing all these things, trust. Your job is simply to trust that everything that comes your way is for your highest good and is part of the journey of you getting to your desire, of you manifesting your highest timeline. And if you can come back to simply following your highest passions, even during those moments of stress or discomfort, if you can come back to, okay, what would my highest self do right now? What feels the most passionate to me right now? What feels the most in alignment right now? What feels the most inspiring right now? If you follow that, you will always, always, always be led to your highest timeline. You will always, always, always be led to synchronicities, opportunities, and all sorts of things that lead you, again, to your highest timeline and to your heart's deepest and greatest desires. So that is the secret of quantum leaping to your highest timeline. Every single day, even segment your day into segments and ask, how can I make each of those segments slightly more passionate, slightly more inspiring, even if it's just a 1% shift. A 1% shift accumulates over time and compounds to become exponential shifts along the lines in the future. So it's just like an airplane taking off. If an airplane takes off from its current location, let's say it's about to fly 10,000 miles, if it takes off even from a 1% shift, after flying 10,000 miles, it's going to be in a completely different location. So you even shifting your life and each segment of your day to even be 1% more passionate, 1% better, you're going to be light years ahead of where you would be otherwise if you didn't make that 1% shift. So segment your day. Take out your journal, segment each part of your day, and ask yourself, how can I make each of these segments 1% more passionate and 1% better? Or even 10% better, 50% better. If you can come up with those ideas, then even better, right? But at least shoot for 1% better. And then throughout your day, follow and listen to your highest passions, whatever feels the most passionate. Even if it's something like, I just feel like going to a cafe right now and reading books. Okay, listen to that. Because perhaps when you go to that cafe, maybe you're going to run into somebody, meet somebody, have a conversation that's going to end up sparking a beautiful idea. Or perhaps you're going to find a book that all of a sudden has all the information that you were looking for and quantum leaps you to your highest timeline. But whenever you follow your greatest passions, that is going to be what quantum leaps you. That's going to be what gets you in alignment with all of a sudden getting all the things that you desired. It's almost like, you know, those video games where you're running and there's like little coins that you have to like get, but it's only when you're on that perfect trajectory and everything. When you're following your highest timelines, this is such a silly example. When you're following your highest timeline by following your highest passions, that's you getting in alignment with all those little coins, all those little gifts, all those little presents that are along that path that get you to your desire so much quicker, that help you feel your highest, most abundant self, and it gets you in alignment with your highest timeline, is following your passions and making each part of your day slightly more passionate. So that is the secret to accessing your highest, most amazing timeline. Thank you so much for joining me here for today's video. I am so excited for you to access your highest timeline, to follow all of your passions, and I cannot wait to hear all those different synchronicities that come up for you. I'm sending you all so much love, and until next time, bye.